Welcome to the Explainer. For the last few years, we've all been kind of mesmerized by AI, right? AI that can chat, write a poem, or whip up a crazy image. But as we look around at the landscape of 2026, the whole game is changing. We are talking about a massive shift from AI that just talks to AI that actually does. Today, we're unpacking the explosive rise of agentic AI, the evolution of action. This transition from generative to autonomous AI is literally the defining theme of 2026, and it's completely rewriting how we work, govern, and live. Okay, so here's our roadmap for the explainer today. First, the dawn of agentic AI. Second, generative versus autonomous AI. Third, smaller models, bigger impact. Fourth, transforming work and commerce. And finally, navigating the governance gap. Let's just dive right in. Section 1. The dawn of agentic AI. So for the longest time, the tech world was totally obsessed with scale, right? Building these massive models with trillions of parameters. But actually, our focus has abruptly shifted. 2025 and 2026 are widely considered the years of AI agents. We are standing on the verge of a shift that's honestly as fundamental as the transition to the web itself. We're moving from a reality where humans are the only ones taking meaningful action on a computer to a world where software acts for us. So what exactly does that mean? Well, agentic AI refers to systems that don't just sit there waiting for your prompt. They are autonomous. They can jump online, do research, formulate a multi-step plan, use external tools like calculators or databases, and actually execute code independently. It's a massive, game-changing leap beyond those simple chat interfaces we used to rely on. Section 2. Generative versus autonomous AI. To really wrap our heads around this, we have to look at the stark contrast between where we were and where we are now. We're shifting from just generating content to orchestrating real-world action. Think about the maturation curve over the last few years. We started way back with intelligent automation, basic, repetitive, rule-based stuff. Then we leveled up to generative AI, where the system interprets language and predicts answers. But now we've hit the very top of that curve with agentic AI. This is where the system can actually simulate, interpret, and independently act inside complex environments. The practical difference? It's pretty striking. Let's say you're using a generative AI model today. You ask it, hey, what's the status of this customer's application? And it spits out an answer. But you still have to do the actual work if something needs fixing. With agentic AI, though, it takes a customer complaint, figures out who needs to be emailed, drafts that email, negotiates a fix, and totally resolves the issue on its own. It literally closes the loop for you. So how on earth does it pull that off? It's all about this continuous orchestration loop. The large language model, the LLM, isn't the whole show anymore. It's really just a thin layer of orchestration. It gets a query, makes a plan, and then it acts on the environment. It grabs tools, checks its memory, observes what happens, and then loops right back around to tweak its plan. Just a continuous cycle of perceiving and acting. Moving to Section 3, smaller models, bigger impact. All right, let's look under the hood for a second, because the whole bigger is always better mindset, that's officially obsolete. We're seeing a real split in the types of models being built. On one side, traditional LLMs, great at predicting text and running chatbots. But on the other side, we have the rise of world models. Instead of guessing the next word, world models, think Google DeepMind's Genie 3 or Waymo's driving simulators, they actually predict physical state changes. They take raw sensor data like video or LiDAR and build an internal simulation of real-world physics. That way, the agents can practice and plan without constantly messing up in the real world. And get this, when it comes to the brains behind your everyday business agents, size is actually shrinking. NVIDIA research put it perfectly. They noted that small language models, or SLMs, are sufficiently powerful, inherently more suitable, and necessarily more economical, making them the actual future of agentic AI. Why? Because if you're deploying a swarm of 1,000 agents to do specific, repetitive tasks, you don't need some massive trillion-parameter black box. You just need precision and efficiency. So these small language models solve some major headaches for enterprises. First off, they're incredibly cost-effective. Second, they enable privacy by design. Because they're small, they can run entirely locally on an edge device, like your company laptop, meaning your sensitive data never even touches the public cloud. They also support sovereign AI, letting organizations keep total control over their own infrastructure. And crucially, they are blazingly fast. When you need business insights at the speed of thought, you just can't be waiting on laggy cloud servers. Section 4. Transforming work and commerce. Okay, let's take this out of the lab and into the real world. How is this tech transforming business in 2026?
Let's walk through the life cycle of a digital purchasing agent. Step 1. The agent ingests a request, say for new office hardware, and checks the budget. Step 2. It autonomously builds a step-by-step plan to survey vendors. Step 3. It jumps into action, browsing the web, comparing live prices, and even emailing vendors to negotiate a deal. And Step 4, it executes the purchase and verifies delivery. The whole shebang, zero human intervention.
Because of capabilities like that, the corporate world looks totally different right now. The big question for CEOs isn't, do we have AI anymore? It's, how many agents do we have running? We've got chief AI officers leading the charge, managing these massive swarms of workflow agents. We're shifting to work as a service, where you aren't paying for software seats anymore, you're paying for the actual outcomes the agents deliver. And maybe the wildest part? Agentic commerce. Literally B2B networks where your company's AI is negotiating directly with the supplier's AI, settling deals in fractions of a second. Absolutely mind-blowing.
Section 5. Navigating the governance gap.
Now, handing over the keys to machines like this comes with some heavy baggage. We've got a massive governance gap to figure out, which leads to the multi-million-dollar question. How do you regulate a swarm? Seriously, how do you oversee autonomous agents making thousands of independent decisions every single minute? It's a totally different ballgame compared to regulating normal software. Right now, experts say we're in a lost-in-definition crisis. The term Agentic AI is being tossed around as this massive catch-all marketing umbrella. You've got vendors using the exact same phrase for a harmless little customer service bot and a highly autonomous system baked into a military command structure. That kind of ambiguity is super dangerous. It causes massive procurement vulnerabilities, meaning an organization might buy and deploy a system with way more autonomy than they bargained for. And it completely undermines our ability to build proper scenario-based safety rules.
To fix this, analysts are saying we need to flip our entire approach to governance. Historically, we've used an internalist approach. Basically, we look at a piece of tech in a vacuum and ask, okay, what can this software do? But for agents, we desperately need a relational approach. We need to evaluate how dropping an agent into a workflow completely reshapes the organization's decision-making, the rules of engagement, and the delegation of human authority. It's a total shift in perspective. As this highlights, agency doesn't just come from an isolated technical system. It emerges from how those systems reshape organizational decision-making when they're actually embedded into our institutions. We have to look past the technical benchmarks in isolation and start measuring the real-world impact these systems have on our safety and authority. Which leaves us with one final profound question to ponder. In 2026, as we delegate more and more of our daily work, our commerce, and our decisions to these autonomous AI swarms, when an autonomous agent decides to act on your behalf, who ultimately holds the accountability? Is it the developer of that small language model, the chief AI officer who deployed it, or the human who trusted it? The evolution of action is already here, but the evolution of our responsibility, well, that has only just begun. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep questioning how these systems are reshaping your world.